Do you know why most people fail to get what they truly want in life? It's not because they lack intelligence, charm, or opportunities. It's because they give up too easily. But you're not like them, are you? You're not the kind of person who settles for mediocrity, who lets others walk all over them. I can feel it. There's something special about you. You've got that spark, that hunger for more, for better. Let me tell you something that changed my life. There was a time when I felt invisible, like my voice didn't matter. I'd ask for things, respect, fairness, even a simple favor, and people would shrug me off. I felt powerless until I discovered this one technique. It's called the broken record technique. It's simple, but it's so powerful that it can turn any no into a yes and make people respect you like never before. I'm about to share how it works and how you can use it to become unstoppable. Stay with me, because I promise this isn't just advice. This is a game changer. Let's dive in. Number 1, understand the power of repetition. Repetition is a psychological powerhouse. It works because our brains are wired to respond to repeated stimuli. Think about advertising jingles or slogans. Why do you remember "Just Do It" or a catchy song lyric long after you hear it? It's because repetition reinforces a message until it sticks. The broken record technique uses this principle to make your message unforgettable. When you calmly repeat your point without wavering, you embed it in the other person's mind. For instance, imagine you're declining a favor that you can't accommodate, like someone asking for a ride when you're busy. Instead of offering multiple excuses, you calmly say, "I'm not available to give you a ride today." If they push back with, "But it's just a quick trip," or "I really need your help," you simply repeat, "I'm not available to give you a ride today." Over time, the repetition creates a psychological effect where the person begins to process and accept your stance. It works because you're not engaging in arguments or offering explanations. They have no new angle to challenge. This technique also builds a perception of unwavering confidence, which makes your position harder to contest. Number 2, stay calm. No matter what, calmness is your secret weapon when using the broken record technique. Staying composed sends a powerful message that you're in control and not easily rattled. This calm demeanor often disarms the other person, especially if they're used to getting their way by provoking emotional reactions. Consider a workplace scenario where a colleague insists on assigning you additional tasks. You politely respond, "I already have a full workload." If they push back by saying, "Everyone else is managing, why can't you?" it's easy to get frustrated or defensive. Instead, calmly repeat, "I already have a full workload." If they escalate, maintain your tone and keep repeating the same line. Why is staying calm so important? Because when someone senses they can't provoke you, they often lose the motivation to continue pressuring you. It's like trying to argue with a wall. The more unshakable you are, the less energy they'll have to push back. This calmness also enhances your credibility, making your stance appear more rational and less emotional. Remember, staying calm doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It's about controlling how you express them. Take deep breaths if needed, and remind yourself that every calm repetition is a step closer to resolving the situation in your favor. Number 3, avoid explaining yourself too much. Many people fall into the trap of over-explaining when they want to justify their position. The problem is that lengthy explanations often dilute your message and open the door for counter-arguments. With the broken record technique, brevity is key. Imagine a scenario where someone asks you to lend them money, but you're not comfortable doing so. If you start explaining, "I can't because I need to save for rent, groceries, and other expenses," they might respond with, "But I'll pay you back before your rent is due." Or, "It's just a small amount. Can't you manage your groceries later?" Suddenly, you're caught in a cycle of explanations and justifications. Instead, keep your response simple and firm. "I'm not in a position to lend money right now." If they persist, repeat the same line verbatim. Avoid adding reasons or details that give them room to argue. This not only saves you from exhausting yourself, but also makes your position unassailable. Here's an important tip. Silence is your ally. After you repeat your point, let the silence linger. It forces the other person to process your words without you having to fill the space with more explanations. The clearer and more concise you are, the stronger your stance becomes. Number 4, Use this for respect, not manipulation. The broken record technique is not about trickery or manipulation. It's about asserting yourself in a respectful and fair manner. It's a tool for setting boundaries, protecting your rights, and ensuring your voice is heard in a way that builds mutual respect. For example, I know someone who used this technique to handle a bullying coworker. The bully would consistently undermine her in meetings, interrupting her ideas. Instead of getting flustered or retaliating, she calmly repeated, "I'd like to finish my point." Each time the bully interrupted, she repeated the same phrase with the same calm tone. Over time, the interruptions stopped because the bully realized they couldn't rattle her or silence her voice. This technique works because it combines firmness with respect. You're not attacking or blaming the other person. You're simply standing your ground. Whether you're asserting your needs, addressing an unfair situation, or maintaining your boundaries, this method ensures you remain both assertive and dignified. The broken record technique is also a powerful way to teach others how to treat you. When you consistently stand up for yourself, people learn that you're not someone who can be easily dismissed or walked over. Number 5, practice makes perfect. As with any skill, mastering the broken record technique takes practice. It might feel awkward at first, especially if you're used to over-explaining or avoiding conflict, but the more you use it, the more natural it becomes. Start by practicing in low-stakes situations. For example, if a friend interrupts you while you're speaking, try calmly saying, "Let me finish my thought." If they interrupt again, repeat, "Let me finish my thought." You'll notice that as you repeat your statement without frustration or hesitation, they'll eventually stop and let you finish. As you gain confidence, apply the technique in more challenging scenarios, like negotiating at work or asserting your boundaries in personal relationships. The key is to remind yourself that repetition is not rudeness, it's clarity. When I first started using this technique, I felt unsure about whether it was working. But after a few successful experiences, I realized how empowering it was. One memorable moment was during a heated family discussion. Instead of getting drawn into emotional debates, I calmly repeated my stance, "I'm not comfortable discussing this right now." It diffused the tension and allowed me to maintain control of the situation. Over time, you'll find that this technique not only makes you more assertive, but also enhances your overall communication skills. You'll feel more confident, more in control, and ultimately more respected in your interactions. Number 6, focus on your goal. The broken record technique only works effectively when you are crystal clear about your goal. Before engaging in any conversation where you plan to use this method, take a moment to define what you want to achieve. This clarity becomes your guiding force, keeping you focused and preventing you from getting sidetracked by irrelevant points or emotional distractions. For instance, I once negotiated a higher rate for a freelance project. The client kept trying to argue for a lower rate, but I stayed focused on my goal. My mantra was simple: this is the value of my work. Every time they attempted to push back or distract me, I calmly repeated, "This is the value of my work." Eventually, they agreed. The reason it worked was that I never wavered or let their objections derail my focus. When you know exactly what you want, it's easier to resist emotional provocations or manipulative tactics. This focus keeps the conversation on track, ensuring that you don't lose sight of your objective, no matter how much the other person tries to steer it in another direction. Number 7, use a calm but firm tone. The way you deliver your message is just as important as the words themselves. A calm and firm tone conveys confidence, authority, and self-assurance. If you come across as overly aggressive, it might provoke defensiveness or resistance from the other person. Conversely, if you sound weak or hesitant, your words may lack impact, and others may feel emboldened to challenge you. When I used this technique during negotiations, I always made a conscious effort to maintain a steady tone that was neither confrontational nor uncertain. I spoke as if I had already won the argument, and this confidence often made others take my stance more seriously. It wasn't arrogance, it was quiet assurance. The key is to sound unwavering but approachable. A calm tone reassures the other person that you're not reacting emotionally, while firmness signals that you're not willing to back down. This balance can make all the difference in how your message is received and respected. Number 8, handle pushback with grace. When you use the broken record technique, it's inevitable that some people will push back. They might challenge you with questions like, "Why are you being so stubborn?" or "Can't you just let it go?" The natural temptation is to defend yourself or explain your position further, but that's where this technique demands restraint. Instead of engaging with their pushback, respond with calm persistence. If someone questions your stance, you can simply reply, "Because this is important to me." That's all you need to say. By not over-explaining, you demonstrate confidence in your values and convictions. This confidence often speaks louder than any lengthy justification ever could. For instance, I once faced a situation where someone repeatedly questioned my decision not to lend them money. They kept saying, "It's just a small amount. Why are you making it such a big deal?" Instead of getting defensive, I calmly repeated, "I'm not able to do that right now." Eventually, they gave up, realizing that I wasn't going to change my mind. The key was remaining graceful and not letting their frustration affect my composure. Number 9, know when to walk away. One of the most empowering aspects of the broken record technique is knowing when to stop repeating yourself. If the other person is unwilling to listen or compromise, there's no shame in walking away. In fact, walking away can be a powerful statement of self-respect. I've encountered situations where I had to walk away from negotiations or conversations because the other person refused to budge. For example, during a business discussion, a client refused to meet my terms despite my calm and consistent repetition of my stance. I ended the conversation by saying, "I'll have to decline under these terms." A few days later, the client came back, ready to negotiate. By walking away, I signaled that I wasn't desperate, which shifted the dynamic in my favor. Walking away doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're valuing your time and energy enough not to waste them on someone who refuses to engage in good faith. This act of self-assurance often leaves a lasting impression and can even prompt the other person to reconsider their position. Number 10, believe in your worth. At the core of this technique lies one fundamental truth. You must believe in yourself. If you doubt your own worth or question whether you deserve what you're asking for, it will show in your tone, body language, and words. Confidence is the foundation of assertiveness, and without it, the broken record technique won't be as effective. When I negotiated a freelance rate, my belief in the value of my work was unshakable. I knew that my skills and experience justified the rate I was asking for, and that conviction allowed me to stand firm without hesitation or apology. If I had doubted myself, the client would have sensed it and pushed back harder. To make this technique work, you need to internalize your worth. Remind yourself of your strengths, accomplishments, and the fairness of your position. When you believe in yourself, your confidence naturally influences how others perceive you. This inner conviction is what gives your words their power and ensures that they're taken seriously. This technique isn't just a tool, it's a mindset. When you master the broken record technique, you're telling the world, "I won't be ignored, I won't be disrespected." And trust me, the world listens to people like you, people who dare to stand out, who refuse to blend into the background. If you're ready to take control of your life, start practicing this today. And before you go, hit that like button and subscribe. Together, we're building a community of extraordinary people who don't just dream, they do. Let's make it happen.